Last time that Nigeria government finally announced the death of Buhari, people are saying that Buhari needs to die again and again. Buhari government was kind of second civil war against Igbos. Buhari came into power and he intentionally wanted to wipe Igbo race out. Like, Igbo land was the most peaceful place you can ever imagine. But during Buhari's government, Igbo land became a war zone. So now, after thorough investigation and all that, Amnesty International came up with this report. Says over 1,800 people killed and hundreds of people disappeared in the Southeast over insecurity crisis. And this is during Buhari's time. We are not even talking about Tinubu. They have not even added the ones that died within these 2 years. And according to Amnesty International, they said that even the military were used to buy the young men in Igbo land. That they were using them, and at the end of the day, they will say it's hip-hop. That was misinformation. That what was happening in the Southeast, the buying, is beyond hip-hop. And they are using hip-hop to cover up. These people were intentionally buying Igbos, like they want to destroy Igbo land by using Nigerian army and the so-called Bubago. Like, the level of hatred Buhari had against Igbos, like, it was unbelievable. Yes. Anyway, let me allow you guys to just take a listen and hear everything this man from Amnesty International said concerning their report. Because right now, Nigeria army have come out to debunk the report, saying that they never involved of any buying in the Southeast. My people, just take a listen.
We're talking about security now. Amnesty International, of course, has released a report documenting the nature and pattern of killings in Southeast Nigeria. And the report is titled A Decade of Impunity, Attacks and Unlawful Killings in Southeast Nigeria. Let's dive deep into this report now. And the Country Director for Amnesty International Nigeria joins us, Mr. Easte Sanusi. He's with us from our Abuja studios. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Sanusi, on the program.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
Okay, so looking at the report now, in the portion titled The Summary of Findings, your organization says between January 2021 and June 2023, over 1,844 people were killed in the Southeast region, while there were cases of abductions, mob violence, and electoral violence. As at the time of writing this report, the killings continued. And you go on to say that it's a hybrid of criminal and political violence. So I'd like you to unbundle this for us. Out of the 1,844 persons that were killed, separating the wheat from the chaff, which can you attribute to be, what number can you attribute to be criminal, and then the others political?
Well, majority of the killings were carried out by the non-state actors, and we also have recorded many cases of extrajudicial execution and other serious human rights violations by the state actors. So what we have, as you mentioned, is a hybrid of political violence, criminality, and all sorts of things. Like, when we did our investigation, we realized that there are at least 17 forests in Anambra State where gunmen operate from. And in Imo State, there are at least 15 of those kind of forests from which gunmen operate. And this government have made life very, very difficult and horrible for the people of this region. In some places, we found out that even families, when you want to have burials, you have to pay them between 500,000 to 300,000. And many people who could not dare do that have to bury their dear ones somewhere else. So life has become very horrible, and this crisis has been going on since at least 2016. And the reason why we did this research is to bring attention to these horrific human rights violations and the need for all those involved, both state and non-state actors, we are telling them to stop, and they have to cease these violations, and peace has to be restored, and all those who have been found to have violated human rights, they must be brought to justice, and families of those who are affected deserve reparation, adequate compensation, and all kind of support for them to recover their lives.
So I'm looking at part of the reports of Amnesty International, one of the summaries, which I would like you to provide insights. So he said, the multifaceted nature of the actors in the Southeast violence makes it easy for states and non-state actors to reduce the actors to a singular narrative, an IPOB ESN secessionist group. What do you make of that?
Well, what we are saying is that there is a popular, very wrong narrative around that whenever you heard about attacks or killings or arson in Southeast, it has been completely reduced and narrowed to a very wrong, not entirely, but very narrow narrative of saying that IPOB ESN. But the issue is beyond that. We believe that focus, or that wrong focus, and narrowing down everything to ESN and IPOB has completely deprived the authorities of the opportunity to holistically look at the problem and solve it. Beyond the issue of IPOB and ESN, there are so many other issues. Drugs, there are issues of cult groups, there are issues of political violence, all this, and criminality, whereby because gunmen believe that whenever they strike, the blame is shifted to IPOB, therefore they continue to do their activities. And we believe that has made it very difficult for the government to address the problem, and it has narrowed down the problem to the wrong focus. That is why we said this crisis is hybrid. It has so many faces, it has so many dimensions, and all dimensions have to be looked at and thoroughly examined so that people will live in peace. Many people don't go to the Southeast anymore to bury their dear ones. Many people don't go at Christmas. Many people don't go on holidays to visit their families. They have to move their families somewhere safer, either Lagos or Abuja, and then they meet their families. And this is unfortunate, and it is affecting people's right and dignity of life itself. And that is why we said that the problem has to be examined. The narrative has to move realistically beyond narrowing it down to IPOB and ESN.
And your report indicts the police, the military, and Ibubuagu in the southeast of much of these killings, to which the Defense Headquarters has been responding. The Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Kangi, particularly responded. We'd like you to listen to the soundbite, and we'll come back for your reaction.
Like I always tell you, everybody with phone in his hand, mobile phone, Android phone, is a potential source of information to the whole world, not even to us here. As you are sitting down now, you can send information to any part of the world that you want, and you say what you want. Nobody will tell you for that. You have, because there is freedom of whatever you want to do. But we can tell you that the military is not engaged in any extrajudicial killing in the southeast. You will all agree with me that the effort of our troops in the recent 2 months have significantly improved the security situation in our country. The operation being conducted has reduced because the efforts of those criminals have seriously been degraded.
And there you have it, the response from the Defense Headquarters. And in fact, if you listened, if we were able to take it further, you'd have heard him say that Amnesty International's position is consistent with your long-standing posture towards the Nigerian military. How do you respond?
Well, I think what the defense spokesperson said is completely wrong, and I believe he hasn't, or they haven't read our report. In the report, we also mentioned cases where military men were executed, their bases attacked or their barracks attacked. We also mentioned the fact that because of consistent attack on security agencies, which are unlawful as well, they could not be able to do their duties effectively. And we also mentioned cases where soldiers were executed by gunmen. And therefore, it is not about consistency, about condemning the military. What we are doing is doing the honest thing and saying that we have cases. While doing this investigation, we interviewed 100 people. And out of that 100, 95 of them, we interviewed them face-to-face in the Southeast region. So we have our evidence, and we believe that the military should take time to read this report and look at cases. In fact, before we even release the report, we also send them letters telling them that we have these allegations. If you have any detail that can help us to understand what is going on or how your operations affect human rights, we will be glad to have them. And we didn't hear from them. Therefore, I don't think that there is any weight or any credibility to the claim that we are consistently against the military. We have nothing against the military, and we always believe that they are doing a constitutional responsibility. But that does not deflect the fact that they have to comply with human rights. And we will not shy away from pointing out whenever human rights are violated, because security is for people to live with dignity. And if it ends up becoming a means through which people are deprived of their personal liberty, we have to say it, and we have to say it bluntly without fear.
We may not, it's not difficult to understand when criminals carry out criminal acts, but let's talk about this part of extrajudicial killing in terms of an explainer here. Well, the DHQ was just given his position. I don't think they put out as many facts as possible, but they dismissed the allegations in clear terms. So when you say there's extrajudicial killing, give us maybe an instance. For example, is it the fact that they catch a criminal and they kill the criminal and without a due process, or innocent people are caught in the crossfire? What exactly is the nature of this extrajudicial killing?
Well, the extrajudicial killings that we have recorded included raids. For example, in places where members of IPOB or ESN are suspected to be located. In the process of those moves to either arrest or carry out security searches, that is where this kind of extrajudicial executions happen. And there are cases where people are picked up from their homes and they are never heard of forever. We have, in the report, we documented cases of at least 4 people who were picked up by security men and nothing has been heard about them as far back as 2021. And let me take you back to 2016. Our work on the situation in Southeast does not start with this report. In 2016, we released a report documenting atrocities committed by the security agencies. And we continue to document these incidents, and if the military and the police and any other agency is interested, we are glad to give them details of families, of people with names and addresses and date of birth who have been extrajudicially executed, not only by the police, not only by the military, but also the Bube Egu, which is a paramilitary outfit set up by some governors to address incessant security crisis in the region. And they ended up becoming a means, as we know, vigilante all over Nigeria do this because they don't care about human rights and they can easily be manipulated to go after enemies of politicians or something like that. So we have our evidence and we are very glad, we are very happy to present those evidences, and we are always in touch with families of victims. And we believe that there is need to do a soul search about these things, let us come and sit down, look at those cases, and find out who did what and when, and let us make sure that the full weight of law come in to ensure justice for the victims.
I want to read another line in the report. It said there have been cases of military reprisal attacks in several communities in the southeast in relation to the activities of IPOB, ESN, and gunmen, leading to human rights abuses. Perhaps is where the military is responding from. But let's talk about a place in Imo State where we understand there's a place called, I think, Tiger Base. I have personally gotten reports of people saying that place is hell on earth. Literally, like if you get there, coming out of that place is going to be by the grace of the Almighty God. I think it's called Tiger Base. The first time I heard about it was before the election. I think the Labour Party governorship candidate in that election was the one talking about that particular spot, Tiger Base. So what have you heard about Tiger Base and the alleged atrocities being committed by security agencies at Tiger Base?
Well, Tiger Base is a very horrific and horrendous place where people go in and either come back with a lot of life-threatening injuries. Some end up executed. Some end up with wounds that stay with them for the rest of their lives. Let me also say that Tiger Base, the cases we receive about Tiger Base, the complaints of the horrific human rights violations taking place at Tiger Base, had to compel us to do a new report, a standalone report, which we are going to release about Tiger Base. And that is all I will say about that place. But we know about it, and that is why we have even carried out an extensive research on the atrocities taking place in that place. It is just similar to the SARS base in Okuzu, also in Anambra State, where so many young people were executed. So many young people went in and they didn't come out, and their families never heard about them. And that is what Tiger Base is gradually becoming. People go in and hardly come out. When they come out either disabled because of torture or other horrific, inhuman treatment. And we believe that the authorities have to investigate that Tiger Base. But as I have said, Amnesty International had already carried out an extensive research. And when it's due, we are going to release a standalone report on the atrocities happening in that place.
Is it the same with Anambra as highlighted in your report? And I'm going to read from it. It says, in several towns in Anambra, including in Obosi, Awka, Onitsha, Ogidi, and Umuoji, cult groups operate unchecked amid a thriving drug business, with hundreds killed in cultism-related clashes. What can you tell us about your engagements with the police and media investigations about the atrocities being committed here, and why is there a helplessness in tackling this?
Well, if you read some parts of the report, you see that we have mentioned the fact that places like Obosi and other related places where there are huge killings as a result of cult activities, we have made it very clear. The reason why these things have been going on in those areas and other parts of the south is because almost many or all the police stations in those areas have been either burned down, the policemen killed, or something like that. So without the police and with their barracks, with their police stations constantly being attacked and their men being killed, that is why those places became what can best be described as wild west, where anything just happened without any deterrence. And that is why these things continue. And that is why we even said that these attacks on security agencies are gross human rights violations and crimes that must stop. And that is why we continue to point out that if these things continue, there will be chaos and the effect is better imagined.
All right. So in winding down, in wrapping up this conversation, Amnesty has always been the conscience trying to check excesses in terms of human rights, and we cannot wait for that report on Tiger Base. And when it comes out, we invite you, also invite the government, because there's this back and forth as to that particular place, the notorious things that go on there as alleged, and people just disappear according to what we hear. But the government will also, the authorities, the police, I guess, will be in a good position to speak. So we are waiting for that Tiger Base report, because we cannot have the Okozu on our hand, no matter the situation, especially if it has to do with human rights. But I'm sure everybody has an explainer. But in winding down, Amnesty International doing their work, when you put out all of these reports and you make a case, but the government doesn't seem to respond, or the people you're trying to address this report to are not bulging, or are denying, or are literally just, aloof or evasive. What next? What is the next line of action? Is it just talk?
Well, it's not talk. Amnesty International is a global organization. We have over 10 million members across the world. And we are not only in Nigeria, we are in almost 152 countries. And we pull our force, we pull our numbers, we pull our capacity to mobilize and sensitize and influence policy. We use it everywhere. For example, the campaign on the situation in the Southeast is going to take place all over the world. It will continue. We will make sure that the world's attention is brought to it. We will make sure that appropriate authorities have done the right thing. And it is not only about talks. These things are documented, and I don't think that anything that has been documented will end up as a talk. We believe that even if this leadership or current government and the ones to come and the previous ones continue to ignore these things, we believe that one day justice will catch up with all the human rights violators. We are very optimistic, we are very positive, and we are never discouraged by the I don't care attitude of the current leadership in the country and politicians who focus more on election than the lives of the people.
And we await that report. And we must also add at this point, yes, we've heard from the military. Needless to say that there should be more exhausting conversations, but we must also hear from the police on this one, their position as to the implications of your report. We must thank you very much. Mr. Easte Sanusi is the Amnesty International Country Director for Nigeria. Thank you very much for your time on the program.
Welcome to Shamras News TV.